This week's Patreon shout-out goes to...
Wow.
It goes out to Pete Sherlock, because I'm British and you're called Sherlock.
Thanks, Pete.
Welcome to the Horror Hour.
We
all go a little mad.
You are going to die tonight. Here's Johnny. It's all for you.
Hello and welcome to this week's Horror Hour. I'm your host, Liam. This is the place where I can't remember what our thing is. It's been that long. What is it?
Where we discuss, debate, and disagree.
When we would just
horror.
that's what we do here. And I'm Liam. Hello and welcome. And thank you for joining us on this extremely sad and somber occasion. As you can see, someone is not with us. George has been taken to the angels up to Cheshire to see his parents, and he's not here. But the real sadness is that Nick is leaving us, everyone.
Bye. I'm in the final form of my life cycle.
Yes, he needs to go. He needs to spend some time alone in the woods, have a couple of wanks, and then record for you lovely lot over on his own channel.
That's right.
So yes, Nick will no longer be here. He will be over on his own channel as per usual and ditching us because he hates us all. He said we're all bastards, we're nasty to him, we treat him like shit, and occasionally we throw eggs at him, which I think is all fair. We're also going to introduce Yutaka because he's here.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us on this very sad and somber occasion. It's nice to see that you wore black for the occasion as well.
It's the only thing I can wear that makes me look semi-slim.
Oh, it's face huggers.
Yes.
Oh, Nicholas.
I didn't notice.
Is there anything you would like to say to the people? Even though, no, but...
Is there anything that I want to say to the people? Stop being poor.
This is a message that myself and George can support. I know. Pugalicious would like you to know that you're a and he will not miss you. And George would like you to know that he will miss you because he likes to look at your nipples. Because the nipples are the eyes of the face.
That's beautiful. That's very sweet. I had a lovely time with all of you, and I'm sure that I will be back for special episodes when you guys need higher view counts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So why are we inviting you back?
That's what you guys
then?
utilize David for. I mean, I'll be back. I just need a little bit more free time because I have none right now.
We will miss you, but thank you for being with us for as long as you were. We are glad to have had you in our lives every Saturday, once a month.
Every other Saturday, thank you.
So, and on this very blessed day, we could only let Nick go out one way, and that is
Bottoming?
Obviously. Why do you think he's in that position?
Look
Look what he's got behind him. Oh, wait, no, I guess you could the mouths.
Make a little hole. So yes, we are going to do a deep dive on the Alien franchise. We are going to reach on in there like many a man has done to Nick.
Oh.
You invoked his name. Tucker just messaged me.
Wait, he messaged you? Tell him to get his ass up.
He just messaged me and said, "Did Liam pass on my message for you?"
Shut up.
Literally about 30 seconds after you sent the message.
Get your ass
He didn't actually say that. He just said, "Can you say something nice to him?" And I went, "Sure, I'll say this." And he went,
Wait, what?
"Yeah, go on then." So I was like, "I'm going to."
Wait, I'm so proud of you that you finally are able to truly be yourself and with your wife. and you to find a way to co-parent your child.
Oh my God.
BTW, I always had a feeling.
Oh. 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 Oh.
Anyways,
Oh, he's good.
we're here talking
He's gonna
about
do-
Alien.
He's going to annihilate
Yes.
this.
Oh my God. So what we will do is we will discuss Alien. Then at the end of the episode, we will tell you what his response is. Actually, no, we won't. If you want to know Pugger's response, you will have to join us in the after hours, which is available on our Patreon. Our Patreon details are linked below. If you would like to hop on over there and join us, you can get access to these episodes a day early. You can also get access to the after hours episodes, which is where we just chat shit for half an hour, and you get to find out what it is that we catch up on after we finish filming. We also have watch-alongs, and depending on which level you're on, we will have monthly watch-along. We have monthly live streams. Now on to the topic. Nick, since it is your last episode, go, run, tell the people.
So the way that me and George kind of went over The Strangers is, first I would say, what are you guys fans of the franchise? Like what are your thoughts overall? And then we can go kind of movie by movie.
I
love the franchise, even the bad ones.
For which there are a few.
I very much enjoy most of the franchise, because there are a couple that I'm just not a fan of or care to revisit. But I do overall, if anything, I just love the design of the xenomorph and the facehuggers. Like, those are just so cool. And I used to remember growing up and having all the action figures of different types of aliens that they produced from the movie or movies. So yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Are you a
obviously
fan
you
of...
hate it. You hate it, Nick. I can see from behind you.
No. We're fans. We are a fan. I think that the Alien franchise is one of the best franchises out there. And although there are some stinkers, I will say that I feel like every single film has redeeming qualities.
As in Resurrection? Or are you saying there's 4 bad films that are bad? I was like...
No, 4 as in Resurrection.
Number 4. Okay.
It's one I don't really revisit.
Wrong.
Nope.
It's a franchise that's not without controversy.
I'll watch Covenant more than I will 4.
Oh no. And it is a franchise that, as you can see, is quite clearly still thriving as it should. Liam, what is your favorite entry in the franchise?
I will go with Aliens.
Okay, so part 2. So like I said, this is one of my favorite franchises. There is something within all of the films, even the ones that are less liked and less critically acclaimed, as we shall say. They all have redeeming qualities of some sort. I would say
something nice about Covenant.
Let's go. Well, I do have some stuff.
Oh, okay.
But let's go through each of the films, and then as we get to the film, if it's your favorite, you could be like, this one's my favorite.
Okay.
But I'm curious to know what we think about each of the films, and then we'll kind of wrap it up towards the end of the episode. But we'll start with, obviously, Alien. So that was 1979, I want to say.
Correct.
Directed by Ridley Scott, the first to introduce the xenomorph, and the first film to feature Ellen Ripley.
Proud local lad.
Yes.
He's from
South Shields, where I was born.
Why are you not as talented as he?
That was my next question.
No, I'm just kidding.
He is the only talented person to come out of South Shields.
Shut up.
Well, he made Alien.
No, that is a lie. That is a lie, because both Jade Thirlwell and Perry Edwards are also both from South Shields.
Okay, yeah, and they are both, no, fair, yeah.
And they are both...
Talent always wins.
The Italians can only have the gesture for it.
The new rendition of Angel of My Dreams.
Anyways,
Evan.
Alien. What do you guys love about Alien? When did you first see it? Thoughts, opinions? Does it
I know
tell
this is
us-
Ita's favorite, so I'll let you go.
I was trying to. Yeah, we all know. Come on, it is my favorite. It's the one I will always watch, rewatch. It could be on TV. I'll still watch it at whatever point. I don't even care if there are commercials. I'm still gonna sit through and finish it. That's how much I love this film. And I think I've told the story. I was 6 when I first saw it. Parents were in the kitchen cooking chili and rice. It was in the evening. It was in the old setup of the family room. I remember that like it was just yesterday. And
The fact that you still remember it was rice and chili.
It was that moment though that I realized why I love scary movies though. Like that was what really got me into film. Like I didn't really fall in like it introduced me to horror, but I mean it was Wes Craven that really cultivated that. But Alien was just kind of like this gateway into the genre, and then just my love of film. And I think again, Sigourney Weaver is a fucking talent, and she. But yeah, I really do. I think the first one to me still is probably I think the best in terms of scary, atmospheric, claustrophobic, and just all those things.
Liam!
I think Aliens is more my favorite. So, but only because I like the trucker in space aspect of Alien, but I like the Marines in space more.
That's fair.
So that tips me over to Aliens. But Alien, I still love the like truckers in space aspect. I like the dirtiness of it. I like how like it feels real. I think it's like it's not actually like real looking. It's just like it's such nostalgia for like it's got such that 70s aesthetic. It's all very like, well, this is what a spaceship's going to look like in the future in the 70s, if that makes sense.
It totally does. I always do chuckle when you look back at films and see what they think things will look like in the future. And we're now at that point in some of these films. I'm like, no, it's 2024. It don't look like that at all.
Like it's the set design is amazing in the first Alien, but it's also like even what is supposed to be in the future is still, we look at it and it's still like we can tell that this is from like the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that era, because obviously you had Star Wars in that era as well, and whenever it come to a spaceship corridor, they were always like, you can tell the difference between like a corridor in Alien and a corridor in Star Wars. Like a Star Wars one it's like a version of an Alien corridor that's been like bleached.
Yes. It's a very, very like bright.
Alien it's down in the dirt. It's like dirty. This is dirty space. Star Wars this is clean, fancy space. But they had the same aesthetic. It's just so good being in that 70s world. So like when you get like to Alien Covenant and Prometheus, and from the looks of the trailer from Romulus, like they still can catch that like 70s aesthetic, but he modernize it. So I think it's great that aesthetic has survived, just but been plussed.
I got what you're saying.
I love it. Yeah.
I feel like at least,
and obviously Sigourney Weaver's that bitch.
Oh yeah, I feel like with the trailers for Romulus, that the ship at least looks the closest that we've gotten to like the original. I mean, it looks obviously
I agree.
more glossy
I
and
get what you're
modernized,
saying.
but it looks, because that was always one of my issues with Prometheus, is it's supposed to take place before Alien, but the technology and the look of the ship and everything, like it feels like it takes place hundreds of years after.
Completely agree.
Alien.
Like I believe in the trailer of Romulus, you can kind of see how some of the corridors look like they have that like the puffed out
boobs.
No, walls. Like the walls are like not curved, but like Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're
like the Michelin Man, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is probably the one that I would agree. Yeah, like from the trailers, is like I think they really mean to be okay. All right, so
For me, it's all, again, similar to Liam. It's a little bit hard to say which one is my favorite. I think I like them both for different reasons, and I feel like they both excel at what they're specifically trying to do. So Alien for me works better from a atmosphere standpoint in regards to like horror. Like there's still obviously atmosphere in Aliens, but it's darker. To your point, it's more claustrophobic because the ship does seem like the corridors seem a little bit tighter.
mm-hmm.
A lot of it is very, very dark visually looking. And I think that it doesn't have sort of the almost orchestral score to it as the sequel does. So it feels less actiony and less showy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I think that like the second one has better special effects in terms of the action sequences, and I do think
hard agree. Yeah,
like because I was watching a reaction to the first one yesterday, and I was thinking about how while I do enjoy when they have like an actual person in the suit, that the first one, even watching it now, you could sort of tell the limitations that they had with how it moved. And I do think that it was a wise approach after the first one to make them a little bit more like bug-like with the way that they crouch and stuff like that, because the first one does sort of just look like a guy in a suit. But I will say that I like the design of the first one, of the xenomorph itself. I like the design more than I like the design for them in part 2. I prefer the smoother head versus the ridged head that they have in the second one. But the Queen in the second one, she is that girl. She is that girl. And I got to see that actual screen used Queen when I was in Vegas, and I was gagged.
Ooh.
It looked really good. But
oh yes, I remember you saying.
But Alien is very, very interesting because I like the whole concept of what they introduced with what inspired the xenomorphs and the facehuggers, like the design. So the whole thing is supposed to have like underlying tones of because the head of the alien is very phallic, shaped like a penis, and the underside of the facehugger literally looks like a vagina. So I just thought that was an interesting concept to add to the creatures because it's not super overt, but it's something like psychologically that you're like, ugh, there's something weird about it. I don't like it. And I love that. Thoughts?
Thank you, Dr. Science.
Thank you. So yes. Thoughts.
So yes. We've just gave our thoughts on it.
Okay, well, I guess.
So I will say I mean, be remiss, like the whole that chest bursting scene still, I think to this day is one of the best. Like the fact that the cast didn't know that shit was about to happen, like wow, just wow. And like the sheer terror of that scene, and oh my god, it's so good. So good.
It was so unexpected.
I think that was the moment I knew I was like, I'm in love with this movie. And even though I'm like was scared out of my mind when I saw that.
I shit myself, but I had a really good time.
Yeah.
You guys have both played Alien Isolation, right?
I've never played it. I need to though.
There is a part of the game where it like cuts back to being on Alien or like being in the original movie, and you're one of the people that gets sent out to explore the engineer's ship. So it's like first person of you walking across the planet, getting to the ship, going in the ship, and it's oh my god, it's so good. It is so good. You guys have to play it. Eventually, when I get gaming stuff set up, that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna play Alien Isolation. But now with the second one, with Aliens, we get introduced to new characters. We have Hicks, we have Newt, we have Bishop, we have
Yes.
Bill Paxton, sexy ass, and well, he was Gorman, I believe. And then also, I always like to bring her up, the girl, the female soldier, who was also in Terminator 2.
Was this the one they
the-
put in brown
Yeah, whom in this one she's playing a Hispanic woman. Which is always so funny when you go to a convention and like she does conventions, and you know how at people's booths they always have like the banner that's behind them with a collage of their roles, and like dead in the center is her and her Hispanic role. And I'm like, do people bring that up to her when they walk up to her and ask her for a picture?
Probably not.
Just get hi. I really enjoyed you in your Hispanic season.
But the second one is one of the very few movies that I do not feel the runtime at all.
No,
Every single
I've never
scene
felt the
in
runtime
that
on it.
film matters.
Yeah.
Every scene. And I miss how they used to. I will say one thing that I think that Aliens does the best after the first one is world building. There's an attention to detail to absolutely everything that I absolutely adore about that movie.
I never pick up on these things, but
now
I'm just getting, oh, that's nice.
What do you guys think about the Queen?
Well, I mean, that's, I think one of the great things about Aliens is all the different types of xenomorphs you get to see. But the Queen, and that, like, that, I guess the third act of the film. Wow. What
what come out in that exoskeleton.
Oh my God.
It's just
like, when you see that, I still, like, I remember when I saw it, I was like, okay. Like, I was like, nobody's gonna live because it's a massive creature. Oh my God. It's,
The one thing that I always notice upon rewatch is I always forget when she enters the room and sees the Queen. I feel like that it's the way that it's almost edited is you can't almost tell that the Queen isn't like sort of just in front of her, that it's like up in the sky of this room almost. I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's just the way that it's edited. It's almost hard to see sometimes. I think it depends on what version you're watching, because obviously there's like the special edition and everything like that. The ovipositor thing is disgusting.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Lays the eggs.
Oh.
Disgusting.
Yes, agreed. I forgot about that. Oh, with all the goo.
It was crazy because even when you see the Queen, though, you just don't get the scale until you see the full picture. It's just phenomenal. Oh my God.
I love when they kill Bishop, or well, when they tear him apart. That was it's so good with a little sizzle, and then he just like it's split sideways. Oh, it's so good.
It's the most memorable scene, but I still remember seeing that. And it's funny because I think on TV, because it wasn't blood, they didn't actually have to cut or edit that in terms of like if you were just watching it on like regular TV, because some scenes they would obviously not show. But that, I always thought that was really funny because since it didn't look real, I'm like, that's one of the most violent deaths in that movie is, oh my God.
I feel, I mean, that's a pretty good, it's kind of like with trailers, in order to have the blood in the trailer, they'll just make the blood black.
Yes.
Otherwise, Now,
but yeah, Aliens is my favorite simply because it just plays Sigourney so well.
Yeah, she got Oscar nominated for that.
As she should. She should have won.
I think somebody who actually did deserve it. Watch it be a year when Meryl Streep was nominated. I mean, come on now.
What are your thoughts on Alien 3?
I mean, when you want to talk about grittier vibes, I definitely get that with the third one. And then technically the xenomorph, I remember when the movie came out, because then the action figures came out as like a crab alien, the way, like the shape, and it's so cool. But it's also Christopher Eccleston's in it, and I love him.
See?
I'm fairly certain that's Christopher Eccleston. Is it not? Oh God.
Christopher Eccleston surely was too young to be in that.
Who the was in Alien 3 then with her? Thought it was him. Charles Dance. Ah, son of a.
I
How to
was
get
like,
those
I
two
just watched it.
confused. God.
I was saying,
I really up on that one,
I always
guys.
I always get like surprised with shit like that because, like, for instance, I have seen the movie Unsane like 5 or 6 times, and then I showed it to my mom a couple weeks ago, and I'm like looking at the one girl, and I'm like, is that Keely from Ted Lasso?
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I was totally wrong on that. Sorry.
so
He was another British guy though. But I just think it had
Oh,
some
but-
really good scenes of terror in Alien 3. And even though it was like brightly lit at times, it was still like nothing but despair. Oh, I loved it.
yeah. So up against Sigourney that year was Meryl Streep for A Cry in the Dark,
She didn't win for that. I know that.
Melanie Griffith for Working Girl,
She didn't win.
Glenn
either.
Close for
She definitely didn't
Dangerous
win.
Liaisons,
So this will be
and-
the winner.
Jodie Foster for The Accused.
Yeah, that was a good one. Damn.
I haven't seen any of those.
The Accused.
Oh
was-
my God, Nick.
I'm not shocked. But The Accused
No,
was a good
no,
film.
I'm not shocked.
Have you seen any of those films, Liam?
Yes.
Oh.
I haven't seen A Cry in the Dark. That's it.
That true. Same. I've not seen that one. I
I've
don't even
never
know what that
heard
is.
of that one.
Working Girl, though. Woo! That also stars Sigourney Weaver. That's a good movie.
It
Working
does.
Girl. 80s.
But Sigourney was nominated for Aliens and Gorillas in the Mist. So when you go and look, it's actually got a nominated for Gorillas in the Mist. Is a leading nomination.
Oh.
But then if you go to the film Aliens, it has Meryl Streep for that. So it says that she was nominated for both of them, but because it was the same year, they just put them both together.
I did not know that. Oh, wow.
But Gorillas in the Mist was the lead
Ah.
nomination.
That's crazy. Alien 3, though. Back to Alien 3.
I've been watching the thingies, the YouTube videos telling you like all the different changes they made. There was like 4 or 5 different versions, and I'm just like, how did this one win?
Yeah, because the assembly cut, that's what the third one is, right? The alternate version, the assembly cut, I believe it's what it's called.
I think so.
Because the first one you had,
I remember people were
the first
pissed
one
that
special edition,
she
second is director's
died,
cut.
which I thought it was brilliant that she like sacrificed herself.
That's the thing I like about the third one is that
Yeah.
this doesn't necessarily apply to every single franchise, but I like it when a film, and this is something that I have preached about the Scream franchise for a long time, is I like it when a film is not afraid to fucking kill off even the most sympathetic characters. Like they killed Newt. They made her drown in her cryo tube, and they killed Hicks, and that shit was dark, and I was like, I liked those characters.
The actor
in
who
Aliens,
plays
but-
Hicks, though, oh, he's hot.
Oh, I get to meet him soon.
Yeah.
Michael Bean.
Yay!
I'm
When
excited.
are you meeting him?
He's at some convention coming up. Because there's another convention that we're going to in a week and a half. And actually, let me show you who. Little side diversion thing here.
Far too many conventions.
This upcoming one, we have a few people that we wanted to see. So Chris Sarandon.
Oh my
And
god, is David going to
then-
be able to contain himself?
I mean, he'll be fine with Chris Sarandon, but
I wouldn't be.
Oh!
I would be-
I'm totally getting a photo up with this man. Sorry. Roger L. Jackson will be there, so I'll finally be able to get him out of the way, since he likes to cancel all the time. But the ones that like David is very excited, and then obviously I'm very, very excited too, is they have 3 people from Twilight. So they have Jasper, The dad, Peter Fasinelli, and who I'm getting a photo with, Kellen Lutz. Oh, that man is sex. He is so hot.
I don't mean to ruin the moment for you, but you know how George is going to a one before you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting a color. He's getting the coloured package.
The what?
Because everyone apart from Roberts, Patterson's, and obviously Kristen Stewart's at that convention he's going to. So you can get a photo with all of them at once.
I mean, I'm not like, I like the Twilight movies, but I'm not like, oh my God. But because David just recently went through the Twilight things and he's a big fan of them now, I just really want to physically look at and touch Kellen Lutz. Anyways, Alien 3. One thing that I do really, really enjoy about that film when you compare it to the first one is I would say Alien Covenant, or not Alien Covenant, Alien 3 is probably the second scariest in the franchise. But I would say that specifically because it's I would still refer to it as horror in space, but the first one, I feel like the horror was contingent on you not knowing what the was going on. And your unfamiliarity with the creature, whereas it's very similar to 3, where you're sort of trapped in this compound or wherever with one singular alien. However, you knew what you were dealing with, and it wasn't like you knew you did not want to interact with it because it was going to you up. And what I mean is, like, if you think about at the end of the first one, where Ripley thinks that she's safe and she's on the escape ship, only to discover that the alien is on board with her. But the alien does not attack her because she is not a threat to it. So it's just chilling. She literally has to spray it with the gas or whatever just to get it out. Whereas in the third one, it's more just, it's just going to kill you. Like, you can't even be in the same room with it because it will kill you. So I kind of like that about the third one.
No, I would agree that aspect is better. 3 is not my favorite. Nothing really stands out for me when it comes to 3. It's good, it's fine, it's watchable. But I have to say, some of the concepts that were dreamed up for it that didn't make it were much better.
The wooden prison, I remember that. It was like an early draft or something like that.
Yeah, so it wasn't a wooden prison. It was they went to a wooden space station with monks.
Oh, that's right.
And then they get put in prison while they're there because the monks say they've brought the devil. Which, and then like a nice and then like, because that's where they got the ending for Alien 3 from. They got it from that script. She goes to sacrifice herself in that script, but then the monk that's helping her ends up sucking the alien out into himself. So then it's switched. So it looks like she's going to sacrifice herself. Then in the script, he then ended up with it and sacrificed himself. And then she escaped feeling all guilty and whatnot. But apparently the reason why that one never went any further was because Sigourney hated the ending. She wanted to die. So then they went back to redo it, but then it just never went any further. So they were going to do that one, but then keep it as she sacrificed herself. But then, something else happened, and that version got completely scrapped. But the sacrifice stayed.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew that one. Like, I remembered vaguely the whole thing with the wooden something. I thought it was. Yeah. I combined everything in my head. I don't know. I mean, we shall see if they do this with Romulus, but now that I'm thinking about the main series of films, so not including Alien versus Predator, every single one introduces some sort of a new version in a way of the creature. And the third one, I think, is the first one that introduces the concept that depending on that it's not specific to humans. Like obviously we know that it bursts out of the engineer, and we don't actually really know what it looked like. I would imagine, given I know that this is retconned by the time we get to Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but in that first one, the engineer is massive. So in order for it to come out of the engineer, it would have, like, whatever, it came out and eventually died. Like, we don't even know what happened to that. Did it just die of hunger? Probably. But
we don't know.
Like, it would have been huge. And the third one introduces like that its appearance will change depending on what it comes out of. And then we have the two different versions, because I want to say the original version is the dog. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dog, and then the assembly cut is an ox.
An ox?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It gets into the room like where they're keeping all of the cattle and stuff for food. And there's like the two different versions. There's the version that we see in both of the films, and then there's one, you can find it online. It's Geiger's original design for it. Mm-hmm. And the body is very different looking, and it looks really, really cool. But yeah, I don't know. The alien is scarier to me in the third one, because the third one's more violent and bloody.
Yes.
So I'm like, were you mad at? I know. I mean, you spoke to it, but like Ripley dying at the end, I thought it was like a nice.
It was a smart choice. It was really good.
Yeah.
Like I expected that from her character too. When she finds out like what's in her. So yeah, no, personally to me, I was like, that's great. I know people get pissy at that, but again, when you have, and in this case, this is just only really the third in the franchise, but when you have somebody who's been in the franchise over and over and over, and this goes with any franchise, take some risks, kill off your lead, do something, because at the end of the day, it just becomes boring.
Exactly. And plus, this isn't like, yes, it's about.
You can always find a new lead.
Yep.
And they do.
Agreed.
Several times.
Yeah.
Now, also, really quickly before we go into the next one, do you prefer the ending where when she falls into the pit that she's just like this? Or do you prefer the one where as she's falling, the queen actually bursts from her chest and she grabs it and holds it as she falls in? I like that one. Although I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I want her to experience that type of pain in her final moments.
I don't think she cared. I think she was more happy that she was killing the
She was
beast.
just happy.
Versus it like getting like that to me was like she was willing to sacrifice it. So obviously Wayland Industries wouldn't get it. And so and she's been through a hell of a lot more, but I mean, I don't know. I still kind of like seeing it burst out.
Same. Agreed. Now, also, I like the little, the bishop thing that they did. Where she thinks it's another bishop model. And he's like, no, this is the one like who he was modeled on. Which they, again, then later spin off again with Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Where he was the actual Wayland. Now, Alien Resurrection, Liam's personal favorite of the franchise. I will say that this movie does not have the same sort of atmosphere as the first three films. I mean, all three of the first three films are very different in atmosphere. This has the least, but I feel like the set design is amazing.
Oh, the set design is so good. It's just so good.
I love that set. And it's got a great cast. I mean, Ron Perlman. I love Ron Perlman. It's got the bad guy from The Crow and Nope. The guy that, like, he's got their super gravelly voice.
Okay.
If you think about it, like the guy from Nope, Liam, the one with the camera.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Gotcha.
But also,
I was like,
and Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder.
Right.
I think I think Resurrection is completely different to any of the other Alien films in the fact that what they had Sigourney Weaver doing was so high camp. Like, she was chewing and eating every bit of scenery around her. Like, not one bit of set around her was safe from the chewing that she was doing. And I loved it.
Yeah,
like,
she seems like a
Alien. I feel like Alien Resurrection is my horror equivalent to Mommy Dearest. Like, Sigourney Weaver is doing her best.
Joan Crawford.
No, Faye Dunaway. She's doing her best Faye Dunaway impression as Faye Dunaway playing, obviously, Joan Crawford. Like, it's just, yeah, I find it so camp and so fun and so delicious.
Yutaka, what do you think?
It's not my favorite by any means, but I will say one of the things that I do like, since it was something the first time we saw, was like an underwater sequence, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I do love that sequence.
Like, it's not something, again, that I guess I expected. And I did love where the one guy knew he had an alien in him, and I forgot if he was a prisoner or if they just bred it. Like, he knew he had it in him, and so when he took the one dude's head and put it against his like stomach or chest so it could burst through, I was like, oh, that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Brad Dourif? Was he in this movie?
Yep, he's one of the scientists.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He has that like almost weirdly sexual scene.
Oh yeah, that was weird. That was a choice. But there were moments of the film that I enjoyed, but overall, that ending felt so hokey that I was just like, okay. But it was also kind of odd because, like, why do I feel bad for this alien who's like getting sucked out of like oh,
he got Janessa right
so yeah, just I mean, it's not like terrible. It's not the worst. It's just not my favorite.
I feel like it is I'm trying to think like another franchise where it has an entry where it's just sort of, I don't know, just wonky. But I don't know. I like
just wonky.
It is very it does have camp. It is very lack of atmosphere, but it is also a little bit more played for laughs for some of it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the concept, like the entire sequence where this Ellen Ripley clone, where she goes in the room and discovers all of the failed versions of her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very incredibly emotional scene. They give both of them, because like when she discovers the one that's like mutated and it's like, kill me. I don't know. It gets me every single time I watch it. And I don't necessarily like how wet the xenomorphs look in this one. Like their entire head is like soaking wet.
Yeah.
But I still thought that like the practical looked really, it was well done on them, especially the queen. I personally think that the newborn is hilarious. It looks so
funny. It's so stupid.
Weird looking. It's so dumb, and I love it. I love every single moment of it. And aside from Alien versus Predator, both of those films, I appreciate that the main franchise has done everything it's done everything that it can do to prevent the alien from actually getting to Earth. Like, I don't want the alien to get to Earth. I want it to stay in space. I feel like it fits the aesthetic a little bit more. And I feel like the stories would just become a little bit more predictable. And we know what's going to happen if it gets to Earth. Earth is But yeah, also, Joss Whedon did that one. So do with that what you will. Now, after Alien Resurrection, the next one was Alien versus Predator, right?
It was.
Now, putting aside the fact that it's PG-13, which they should not have done, I personally love Alien versus Predator. I feel like, I mean, I love Freddy versus Jason. It is the Freddy versus Jason of these two franchises for me. It is so good.
It is.
It is exactly what I had hoped that it was going to be in regards to like being able to see these two creatures fight.
Mhm.
I think conceptually it's really, really cool how
Yeah.
the backstory that they built for why these two
Yeah.
monsters would be fighting. That basically the predators were the one that created all of our modern, like our cultures and stuff like that. I thought
I
was really,
enjoyed that
really
actually.
well done.
Again, really good world building with that one.
Oh, it's so good. And
I didn't hate Alien versus Predator.
But you didn't
But I
love
do.
it.
I feel like I enjoyed it at the time, and then I feel like Alien versus Predator Requiem kind of like sullied my opinion just on.
Oh,
There was
well,
a
Alien vs
hole.
Predator Requiem. We'll talk about that. But
Oh yeah. So like, if I'm thinking back to the first time I very ever watched it, I was like, yeah, like nothing got as like, woo. I mean, I didn't hate it. I would watch it again if it was on.
okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
loved it, honestly.
can't-
I saw it in theaters a couple of times because I went in. This came out after Freddy vs. Jason, right? Or was this before? I mean, either way, I guess when the matchup was announced, in a sense, like I'll consider it like a matchup or versus,
It came
I
out
just-
after.
Okay. Well then, okay, that makes sense as
A
why
year
I'm thinking-
after. So Freddy vs.
Like-
Jason was 2003. This was 2004.
Okay, so when Freddy vs. Jason was announced, I was like pumped, excited. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. It's so silly. It's so stupid. It knows what it wants to be, and it's not to be taken seriously. It's just to have fun. Same thing. Alien vs. Predator. I'm like, all I want to see is these two like behemoths in their own level, just go at it. And they had some really good fight sequences. And they were
They
so
did. They
fun.
did do that well.
Also I loved Sanaya Lathan. Oh my God.
I was
when she
I
had like the
I
alien
forgot
head,
to mention that.
like
yeah.
as the shield thing, and she had the spear, I was like, this is ready to shit up. Like, I love that. And also, I did love the queen in this one. That was kind of a terrifying scene, in my opinion, when you see this big thing, and there's just something about it against the snow, and oh my God.
I think there's something really cool whenever you see the xenomorphs in different environments and you're used to seeing.
Yes.
Like, seeing how they're using them almost like... Because the best way to describe it, I think, is in the actual Alien films itself, they're obviously the villains, quote unquote, or the antagonists, should I say. But I
Mhm.
feel like this showcasing them as being basically just bred for fights, almost
To be slaughtered.
like dog fighting.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, they're the dogs. They're Predator's dog.
Exactly. Like when we
Mhm.
first see the alien queen or the queen, when she gets lifted up and she's frozen and they use the electricity to wake
Like,
her up.
oh.
It's so good. But now, two things I definitely have to point out with this movie. Number one, I know you mentioned with the fight sequences, specifically the one shot where our lead is underneath like the water tank and the queen is like with the second tongue thing is trying to get her.
Yeah.
And you see from her point of view and the predator jumps up and does this like spin in the air and then shoves the spear through it. I came right in my pants. It was so fucking good. I was like,
Whoa!
this is everything. After they knock the queen down into like the ocean, which means that with it's still down there.
Mm-hmm.
Which so it is on Earth. They have one down there. I like the
It's there right
callback
now.
to Predator 2 when all of a sudden you realize that like this whole thing was being watched. Like you had this massive spaceship that
Yeah.
was right there, and you had all of them there. But the biggest thing I wanted to point out was this is the first time that on film we got to see the Predalien.
Yeah.
That was like it's the second that they sort of like allude that the face hugger got one of them. The whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is that? I want to know what it looks like. Is it going to look like it did in the video game? I want to know." Oh, love that movie.
It was, again, it's just, I don't take the movie seriously. I just love it because it's so entertaining.
Agreed.
That's what I think of when I think of
Well,
Alien vs. Predator. Because it's also one I can always watch because it's just so fun. And honestly, it's just I don't know. It's kind of cool just to see just those two monsters fighting it out, since we rarely get that in a sense.
Yeah.
Like we still to this
I'd
day, like
probably-
they're like, I don't know, Evil Dead versus Hellraiser, like shit like that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you don't get shit like that.
Like, I probably do have like quite like a slightly sullied memory of it, to be fair, because I've never actually seen it in like proper HD.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh,
that's
you
fair.
need to-
That would be rough.
I've only ever seen it. I've only ever seen Predator versus Alien on a
If you say
dodgy
a box
DVD.
TV, oh,
A dodgy DVD that my gran got me it on, because no one would take me to the cinema to see scary
so
films.
you watched like somebody record it.
And so I watched a cam copy of it.
No, you gotta watch it in all of its glory.
But it came because my gran used to get the dodgy DVDs from obviously the dodgy DVD man. So it had like a proper DVD case with like a proper artwork on it to make it look like an actual DVD.
Nick is practically
just
having a
kept
heart
that.
attack listening to
I
this.
know.
Did you see
I'm
that?
trying to crack
I just kept
I'm trying
that.
to- Hold
I
on.
just kept that for years. I kept that for years, and that's the only version I ever watched.
What?
You gotta watch it in all its glory because
Liam.
the effects are pretty good.
Shit, I might have to. You know what? I think I might want to do a watch along for that. Let me text somebody.
The effects are very good on that. The design of the xenomorph looks really, really good. Now I will
Oh,
say,
I could still see everything, by the way. Like, I'm not saying like
It's just not the
thingy,
same.
but like it wasn't in like HD. It was in like 360p because
when
obviously
is
it was
the
the
last-
olden days when it
is that
first
the
came
last
out.
time you watched it?
How many times?
Yeah, I
have you seen
haven't
this
like
movie?
watched it on digital twice.
Oh, you need to rewatch it. It's been a long time.
Oh my god, I'm watching
I
it
will-
tonight.
Aside from the rating, one thing that I did not care for
That's all right.
was the design of the predators because they were far too big and bulky, which they corrected by the next film.
Yeah,
like-
but the next film was.
The suits were just too padded and they just looked a little bit too bulky. But yes.
Oh,
so
it's on
now,
Disney Plus.
There you go.
Mhm.
Now we will go into the controversial Alien versus Predator Requiem.
I seen this for. I am
Did you?
upfront because mine is going to be dead quick. I seen this film once. I hated it from the moment it started. I can't remember shit all that happened because
Because
I
you didn't
never
actually see the
watched it
film.
again. I did.
You didn't. None of us did. Nobody could see the movie.
That's.
Oh, well.
I remember. I saw it in theaters,
Yeah.
and I was so pissed. Like I sat through the entire thing. I'm like, this is really not how the movie is. And then later, I would see reviews, and they were talking about that, and I go, what? I go, because I was like, maybe I just got. Because I was gonna see it again, because I was like, maybe it was just the theater, and I was too nice to like walk out and say something. But then when I found out, no, that's really what it was. I go, oof, they did a shit job. I'm like, thank you for making it rated R, and thank you for giving a score, but I'm sorry I couldn't really see it.
There are versions that people have like sort of messed with the color grading a little bit to brighten it
That
up.
makes it
and-
look worse, though, in my opinion. Like, you see
Some
more
of them.
flaws.
Yeah, you definitely see more flaws, but it is I at least like being able to see what the happened in the
Let
movie.
me see who the cast was. I can't remember. Now I need to. Some of the cast was good, or at least hot.
Oh, and it takes place in Colorado. I did like that.
Alien versus.
Yes.
But I did not care
Are
for
we-
the human characters.
Are
at
we
all.
near? Are we near it?
I will
I don't know
have
how
to
big
double check
Colorado
because
is.
I will have to double check where it was filmed because I know that it takes place in Colorado, but I don't know for sure that they filmed it in Colorado.
I did like the
Uh.
female lead, though. I actually enjoyed her.
You know what I enjoyed? I enjoyed when the girlfriend, the love interest, gets killed.
That's one of the
In
funniest deaths.
That is so
I love it.
funny. That to me in this movie is when they kill what's her face in the Friday the 13th remake. Because you think that she's the lead.
Kelly.
Oh, when she gets the
Oh.
knife in the bus.
Oh no. Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, when they're crawling through oh, who is that? For The Grudge 2.
She was in the
And
Grudge too? She was in The Flash. Daniel Panabaker.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
who am I thinking
yeah.
about The Grudge 2.
Yeah.
Are you thinking
The
Amber
one
Tamblyn?
who played
Yeah. I'm thinking of.
the one who played Killer Frost.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot.
Should have
the
said
dude-
Sky High.
Sam Trammell was in Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Who?
The Sam Merlot from True Blood.
Oh yeah.
I
I
forgot he was in that. Oh my god.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Still doesn't make it a good movie.
It does not make it a good
No.
movie.
Still doesn't make it a good movie.
Conceptually, I do like. I mean, I feel like it was fairly predictable how they were going to end it. Like, you knew that they got to Earth, so you knew that the military was going to show up and nuke the out of this place.
Yeah.
But if we could properly see it, the adult Predalien snaps to it because it looked so fucking cool. How it had like the little like tube hair. Some people
The
call it
little
dreads, but it's
tube
not
hair.
supposed to be dreads.
Oh, I know. Okay. Yeah, it took me a second. Okay.
Yeah, but there's really not much I could say about this movie because I'm just like,
Yeah, I've already said all I can think of. And I was being
I don't-
Yeah, I literally.
I don't.
It
I
got
also
my
said
money.
everything.
Let's put it that way. I paid to see it in theaters. You got my money. That's hey.
Is this the one? I think it's this one, and it's not the previous film. Is this the one where the post-credit scene is where they deliver the shoulder cannon
Mhm.
of the Predator to
Yes.
Yutani?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did like that little connection. I will give it that. But that's all I have to say about Alien versus Predator 2. Now,
Okay.
another very controversial, polarizing movie within the franchise. We have Prometheus.
I like Prometheus.
Elaborate on your liking of it.
Oh wait, no. I want you to go first on this one.
On
I want to
Prometheus.
hear. Yeah. I want to hear this.
So I have mixed feelings on Prometheus. I very much so enjoy it as a film when I mentally don't connect it to Alien. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, like it annoys the out of me how futuristic it looks despite the fact that it's a prequel.
Yeah.
That bothers me. Not that I think that they look bad, but I will always be, especially when it comes to the Alien franchise, I am significantly more of a fan of practical effects. Basically, everything in this is CGI.
Yes,
monsters.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I liked the themes that it was trying to explore with creation. I don't like the retcon of the engineers being significantly smaller. But I don't know. I go back and forth on this sort of covers like this film and Covenant. But I go back and forth on what my feelings are in regards to David and his being the one that created the xenomorph.
Yeah, I had issues with that.
Mostly because I think
I didn't.
when you it's kind of like if you think about like Halloween, that franchise, and how people say what you don't know and what you don't see is scarier because your mind is able to just sort of concoct whatever it wants to. I think that not knowing where the species came from in some ways is more effective.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's a drastic deviation from what the themes are that we sort of already explored.
I just
Because
didn't
we
like
had
the
Wayland
idea that,
Yutani
yeah.
creating different versions of it. How do I word this? David creating the xenomorph. I think the concept of David is cool. I think David is it's not.
Michael Fassbender did a great job. Can I tell you? Also in the marketing and promo, like that was brilliant.
Let me see if I can find.
I remember that
this
commercial. Like he was impressive.
thing that I was.
Michael Fassbender makes Prometheus and Coven simply because he is phenomenal. Like his acting ability is amazing, and it is on full show throughout both of them films. What's built around him might not be perfect, but what he's doing is perfect.
Oh yeah,
He was a 10 out of 10 in the film. And also I actually liked Nomi Rapace. I was very upset with what happened, like how she was not really in the sequel. Like that pisses me off still to this day.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Charlize Theron until she died. That was so stupid. It's just run left or right. Run left or right.
I
What
feel
are
like
you
people in
doing
the
here?
theater were screaming about that. They're like, what the are you doing? Like, literally
Like,
turn to the right.
You are this smart woman, but she did get to shag Idris Elba, so I was like, props. At least you got one
Also-
good thing.
Well,
Speaking of shagging him, also another hottie in the movie is the Tom Hardy lookalike,
Lookalike?
Logan Marshall Green.
Thomas. Yeah, that's it. Logan Mark.
Love him
Why
too.
do I call
Love
him
him too.
Thomas?
They had a hot cast. They had a
I
hot cast.
forgot. When she was trying, I also loved the abortion scene.
I do love that. Like, I love the technology in the movie. I just don't like the fact
It doesn't
that
fit. I get you. Yeah,
but
I would
love
agree.
That scene.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, on like, if you're going to do a prequel in
Nowadays.
a spacey sci-fi settings,
Mhm.
you're going to have to just completely suspend your disbelief on what's acceptable, because the technology is getting so much better.
You
that
say that
even
now.
when-
Let's
like,
all wait
even-
till we see Romulus.
Even with the trailer for Romulus, though, like, you could tell that they were still trying to go, like, yes, we are in the future, but we are honoring.
Yes.
Yeah,
they
you can
truly
honor
did
it,
this.
but I think obviously the difference is Prometheus was supposed to be like a new chapter that was a prequel. So they
It
want
still
to
would've been nice to
differentiate it from the original. So I'm not mad simply because it happens to 99% of films that are sequels to older films. They upgrade prequels beyond to where the technology is better than what it was in the originals. But that was just because back in them days, they were limited in what they could do. So
Yeah,
these
but-
things did exist. You just didn't see them.
I have heard people sort of try to justify that a little bit with saying, like, technically everything that we're seeing in Prometheus is from Weyland-Yutani, like that company itself that has a ton of money. Whereas in the original Alien film, we were on basically like think of like
Barge,
comparing a cruise ship to a barge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
It
very,
still would have been
you know.
nice to see just like remnants of that. That's what
Give
was
me a
missing.
room with, like, how do you have holograms, and then the original we had like CRT screens.
Yeah. Like, it would have been nice to have just a little bit to have that. Like, I get where you're going, so I will meet you 75% of the way on that one, Liam.
75.
But, yeah, hey,
80.
but I do think it would have been nice had there been some that still ties what we're seeing, even if it's updated, that it still gives you like the idea and the thought of the like the set design of Alien or Aliens. And
Yeah.
I,
I
didn't
feel
get
like-
that.
No, I get it.
Covenant does that better than this.
Yes, agreed.
Um,
That's probably only the nice thing you'll say about Covenant.
I think that a lot of what was polarizing about this movie is, well, Ridley Scott is a controversial character in and of itself when it comes to his opinions on films and plot lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like a little side tangent, or not tangent, but a little side story that I thought was interesting is I was reading an interview with I have no idea how to, Fede Alvarez, is that how you say it? But
Freddie.
Freddie?
There's no
There's no
Freddie
R in
Alvarez.
it. There's no R. It's
Ah.
Yeah, there
F-E-D-E.
is.
It's F-E-D-E.
Fede. That's what I said.
No. He said Freddie, like F-R. I was telling him there's
Freddie.
no R. Oh, I thought you said
That's
Freddie.
just my accent.
Oh, I thought
No,
you
that's
said
just my
Freddie.
accent.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
yeah, I was
that's
like-
like we both thought you said Freddie. I was like, what?
Fede or Fede.
That's just
Freddie
how
Bob.
my accent works.
He was in an interview talking about the new movie, and he said that once they finished editing, they showed it to both Ridley Scott and James Cameron, and he was like, both created two of the best films in the franchise. They are like huge within film industry, and they had drastically different notes about the film, things that they would have changed. So he was like, obviously, I tried to honor a little bit both of them, but obviously not change it too much that it wasn't my own. So I just thought that was interesting. But I feel like
Did they hate it or like it?
Oh no, they both loved it, but
they had different. Gotcha. Okay,
just very, very different notes.
I thought you meant like they were not a fan.
Oh no, they loved it.
No.
I feel like if you sort of look at like the David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloween, whereas it feels like after they finished one film, they sat in the writing room and were like, you know what? I want to just conceptually go in a completely different direction in the next film. To me, that is what he did with Prometheus, whereas instead of it being space horror, he decided he wanted to explore the theme of like all these philosophical themes.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big turnoff for a lot of people because we're like, well, we came for an Alien prequel and we didn't even technically get an alien. Well, we got aliens, but like
Different.
We didn't get a xenomorph.
Like that weird snake. Well, actually, I did like that scene though, but that was a weird looking thing.
Yeah, I mean, like the closest that you get is the neomorph at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or was that the protomorph?
I can't remember, honestly.
I think Covenant is the protomorph.
Okay.
I think that was like a big thing with that film, but I do like the film. I do think it's a very well-made film.
There's no denying it is very well made. Yeah.
It works just a little bit better for me if I don't just view it as an Alien prequel.
Sure. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, I turn my brain off going into most things. So, like, I don't sit and watch something like that and be like, this is vastly different to Alien. My brain just doesn't think of that because I'm like, well, it's not like, yeah, it's different.
Can you do that impression for me?
All films are. I can't remember what I did.
This is the way you said vastly different. It was really funny. Sorry.
So I never specifically go Alien, Prometheus, boom. They should be the same because I see them as like, yes, they are the same universe, but they're like different aspects of the same universe. They're not like intertwined, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like if it wasn't like, you could still set it within the same universe and just be like, yeah, you have one section of the series where you're following these xenomorph creatures, and then you have another section of the series where you're following basically like an evil android. I think that would have been fine. Like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he struggled or I feel like the issue was linking the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Having one be the cause of the other. Whereas I feel like you could have simply had something where very, very small, like it's still set within the same universe. You're still following the same sort of story, but it's kind of like in Predator 2, when you see the xenomorph skull in the background. Like
that's true.
You could have a little Easter egg for the fans, but like I think that was the issue. Is a lot of people don't like the origin story for the xenomorph.
Yeah,
which brings us to Alien Covenant.
Should I go first on this one?
You should. Yeah, you go.
Okay, so this is not a good movie, but I enjoy the hell out of it because hold on, I do think the characters make such stupid decitions that it's so laughable that I have a great time laughing at the movie. But I will say, and I know a lot of people may disagree, but is her name Catherine Watterson?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She was badass in the end. Like, I really enjoyed like that final sequence. I know not many were a fan, but I kind of enjoyed that a lot.
So I feel like it's like,
but also
because you spend a lot of the film with the beginning Catherine Waterston, you don't really register the improvement in that final bit. So yes, she is excellent in that final bit, like you say, but she's such a wet blanket.
Oh yeah, she's annoying as in the beginning.
80% of it, she's awful, and she's not even acting well either at the beginning. So I think that's the problem. That
because by the end, don't recognize the good thing. Ripley.
Yeah.
It's like you don't recognize the good parts at the end because you're still hung up on how shit it was to begin with.
I will also say, again, because this uses a lot of CGI. There is some bad, and I do mean bad sequences. Like the part where it's in his back and she's in the medical bay and it like comes out and it's coming at her and like she's trying to stab it. Like it just looks so bad.
It's
I'm
like both really like gory looking, but also you're just like, this would be so much cooler looking if it was some sort of a practical.
Yes, like it
Yeah.
blew my mind that they've moved away from that, and I don't know if they thought it looked cooler or no way was it cheaper, because practical I feel would have been cheaper.
Don't worry, we'll get practical in a few days.
I know, I'm so excited. But I just I hated that. And I will say, like, this should have been part of the movie, even though they released it as like here's like a 10-minute clip. It's not in the movie, but it's like setting up the movie. I liked that, getting to know those crew members and all that. I was like, you could have put that in the movie and I would have elevated it just a little bit to make you enjoy these characters. Like, why was that?
I don't like it when they're like, oh yeah, like here, get to know your cast members. I shouldn't have to watch something else because you chose not to have character development within your movie.
Like it was so, I don't know, there was just something cute and wholesome about that scene, which sounds weird, but again, it actually added to why those characters really felt the way they did for each other and why they made certain decisions. And that's why I'm just like, why? That was stupid. But the decisions made by these people is just baffling and stupid, and I was so dumbfounded.
If I am watching any sort of science fiction movie where you have a team of scientists and they're in space and they're just discover a new planet, and within seconds of getting on the planet, they take their helmets off, your movie immediately loses 2-letter scores for me.
I was laughing. I was like, what?
Putting that shit aside, I will say that this film, I thought that David was a more interesting character, and it had some pretty, putting aside certain CGI stuff, it had some pretty phenomenal looking sequences, like when he's over the planet and he drops all of the black goo shit on them. It is stunning to look at.
Very homoerotic scenes too.
I was just about to say the one scene that like everybody universally agrees, they're like, yeah, I like that about this movie, is the weird pan flute scene between the two Fassbenders. I
actually liked them fighting too. That was fun.
The only thing that this sort of goes with what we were just discussing with the last film, is I'm like, how did somebody manage to kill an android in the first one by simply hitting it with a fire extinguisher and knocking its head off? And these two are like superheroes, like bursting through concrete and shit. But it was, I don't know, it was so cool. And I do genuinely like at the end of the movie, that like the actual final scene, I think that is incredibly scary when she's trapped and she realizes that it's not him.
And she can't do anything because like this, that was a great ending. Like, I love, please, movies, if you can, take risks like that. Again,
I feel like that whole thing with David, his whole story, if the xenomorph was already sort of a thing, and then he was just doing experiments with it, I feel like that would have played better, because then, I don't know.
Agreed. I would like to see, because then I would have been okay with seeing a third one, because again, as you said, it wouldn't have been, it would have been in the universe, but we're following David, and this, like, that would have been cool to me. I would have, because just think, you could maybe see other planets or see different type of xenomorphs because of his experimentation. I don't know. But then again, they probably would have just done CGI with the whole fucking thing. And
the thing that bothers me is, like, Ridley Scott said, my concluding chapter that I originally intended for that one was not going to basically be a lead in to the original film. I'm like, that is such a missed opportunity. If you've already fucked with the lore like this, then you should figure out a way to properly start. Like, it should end with the engineer ship crashing on LV-426.
Oh, wouldn't that see that? Oh my God. As a fan, like, if I saw that, I would geek the out.
Let's all be honest. Ridley Scott lost his touch years ago, but people still keep giving him money.
Ridley Scott, Tim Burton,
Martin
John
Scorsese.
Carpenter. I don't watch enough of his movies to be able to comment on that. His movies are too long for me.
I'll comment. 200 million for Killers of the Flower Moon. Cool.
Ridiculous.
How cool to
Ridiculous.
watch this movie from a white perspective. I think 200 million for The Irishman, but you couldn't de-age somebody's hands? Girl.
He mad. Girl, he mad.
We bet.
Like, I love Scorsese, but make a good film. Or shut up.
Ooh, saucy.
He's no James Cameron. I can't stand that man. Cannot. People are going to be like, I cannot.
He's clearly an awful human.
Yes. If you hear stories about him, how he treated Catherine Bigelow, and just how he treats his set, like cast members, like if he, he did The Abyss, right?
I've never seen that.
Yes.
Watch some of the behind the scenes of either The Abyss or Leviathan. I can't remember which one. Where they built like this huge, massive water tank, and like
Yeah.
And like he really mistreated. Like there are some of the cast members that don't speak to him to this day. They won't even talk about the movie.
I did not know anything
There we
about
go.
that. I thought he was very beloved.
So what's next, Nicholas?
Not very beloved.
So I would say that next we can talk about basically the next big alien thing that came out between Covenant and the upcoming film Romulus, which was Alien Isolation, which in my opinion is the single greatest video game that I've ever played.
How
Is
many
it
video
available?
games do you often play?
Well, growing up, that's all I did. I was all about video games.
Okay, gotcha.
But Alien Isolation, for those watching who have played this, who will understand this, the attention to detail that they got of like the ships and the world building. It is the best game that I've ever played in terms of world building, into the attention to detail. Like there's at one point where you're exploring the ship and you find a dead crew member with a rolled up porno magazine shoved down their throat. And I was like, the callback to the original, though. It's so good.
Okay, that's pretty badass.
And like
got
the
it.
alien, what?
Got it.
What? The
He's
what?
downloaded it.
Oh, and
Alien Isolation. It's on
Is it on-
PS
oh my
Plus.
God.
Is it? Okay, maybe
Mhm.
I guess I'll
It
be
is.
getting it.
The story is really cool. So if you guys are not familiar with the story, it takes place, I want to say 10 to 15 years after the events of Alien. And
Okay.
it follows
It's a daughter, isn't it?
it follows Amanda Ripley, her daughter, who they discovered I believe, because it's been a couple years since I played it. Either they discover the flight recorder. I feel like that's they discover the flight recorder of the original film and what happened. And she's like out there searching, trying to find her mother, and then they end up on the ship that you're on in the game, and I forget the name of the ship. But there is an alien on board. They've killed most of the crew members, and you're exploring that and trying to learn. She's trying to find more information about Ellen. But it's incredibly good. I will say that the one thing about the game that does frustrate me is the end feels a little bit abrupt, and the end quite clearly sets up for a sequel.
That
And
never happened, or
From my
is it-
understanding, the company has went under.
Oh,
So there
damn.
most likely will not be a sequel.
Ah.
But one thing that I freaked the out over when I was reading that interview with Freddie, as we thought we heard from Liam, they asked him,
Freddy lad.
"Are you ignoring any of the films?"
Freddy and Freddy. Sounds exactly the same coming out with mouth.
A little bit.
It does a little bit.
But they asked him, like, "Are you ignoring any of the other films in the franchise? Is anything not canon?" And he said, "Everything is canon." And he said there will be references and Easter eggs letting the true fans know that everything is canon. And he goes, and even Isolation. And I was like, excuse me? In the trailer, the most recent trailer that they released, when the
I'm
characters
getting
at one
chills
point,
right now. Oh my god! Like I need to play this game now because of oh my god!
there's a
Believe me,
shot
I can't
of the
sympathize
characters. We believe you.
Let him talk.
There's a shot of the character walking down the corridors, and on the wall there is a call box, and that is from Alien Isolation. That's you use the call boxes to save your point, like your point in the game, and he added that into the movie. But then like somebody like there was another interview that sort of like was talking a little bit about the plot, and the plot in a very loose way is basically an adaptation of Isolation. It's about, you know, people exploring an abandoned
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I obviously I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so good. He said that they got the same the entire crew that worked on Aliens. He said every point that we could think something practical, it is practical. There was a picture that Bloody Disgusting, well, I think technically one of the people that works at Bloody Disgusting posted the other day of a behind the scenes shot of like 7-foot tall person that's in the suit, and it looks so good. It looks just like it did in the original, very biomechanical, and you can even sort of see a little bit of the skull underneath the dome. One thing that I am curious about, though, is you would have seen this, the ones that they have in like the various movie theaters, the big statues or whatever, matches that picture, and there's like part of the dome is like cracked, and you can actually see the skull underneath, which is kind of cool. And then
have you seen the one that's on the outside of a theater? Like they made
it's CGI, darling.
Oh, I feel so stupid. That's not a real.
That is an advertising TikTok video of them putting a fake CGI alien head on a building.
Well, shit. Do you guys like know what
they do that all the time?
They do. I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know. I don't know much about the plot, and I've actually, for once, Nick, be shocked, I've not actually looked up anything about the movie. I haven't spoiled it. I haven't done anything. I've seen the trailers, and that's it.
I've seen the trailers, and that's it.
I am, like, when y'all obviously know, like, this has been, like, I joke that Terrifier 3 is my most sent. No, this movie. And I was so scared, like, early reactions have been great, but I was so scared that I was getting my hopes up from the trailers because the trailers look great. And I was very nervous, but I have not spoiled anything. I don't know anything about the film. I know a little bit of the cast, but I don't know who they're playing. I've been hands off for once because I want to be so surprised by this. That's how excited I am for this movie. Like, that's why when you said you were going to go see it, I'm like, oh my God, great. I need to talk to you about this when I see it. I am like, oh my God, like, I really hope it is on Monday night. That would be like just the best birthday gift. Yeah, that's
is
how
Monday
excited.
Your actual birthday?
Yeah, Monday's my actual birthday. So I'm just, that's how excited I have been.
Happy 100th birthday.
Yay. You know what? Let me go get my... Wow.
Nick, you're not George. Stop trying to act. Because you can't.
Unlike George, you can't tell when I'm acting because I'm good at it. Just kidding, George.
But yeah, I'm excited. So I've really, that's why when you said like Alien Isolation, like I've never actually played Isolation, so I don't know much about it, but now I will be playing it probably all day tomorrow.
It's so good. It is so
you have like if it's a like a prerequisite before Romulus, I need to play this game.
There is a channel that I just recently discovered, the Media Nights, which is funny because they have like almost 200,000 or 200,000 subscribers, so they're huge. But they've watched the first 4 Aliens, the first Alien versus Predator, and they've watched like both the Predator films, but or the first 2. And then they have like an hour and a half long video of them playing Alien Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, obviously play the game, but that's a recommendation. Like it's good. Like it's hilarious trying to watch people play it, not realizing that it's actually really, really scary.
I've heard like I heard they really get like the whole claustrophobia and atmosphere like down pat. Like they don't F around.
Oh yeah. Like
I don't mind scary in movies, but I hate hate really scary games.
But like hate in a good way.
No, like I hate them. I get too scared and I don't want to do things. And I'm the one with the remote. Like I'm like the controller, and I'm like, Liam,
I
just
found
do
out
it.
with Resident Evil, like the earlier Resident Evil games, I would get scared. I mean, I
love
was
those
like, Alien
games.
Isolation is the scariest game that I've ever played.
Oh,
And I was playing it at one point years ago, and I was in my apartment with my ex-boyfriend, and he was taking a nap. So I thought he was sleeping. So I'm playing this in the dark. This crawled out of bed on his hands and knees and comes up behind me as I'm playing like a really scary sequence. So there's context. In the trailer for Romulus, there is a very quick shot of something happening with a character hiding in like a locker.
Okay.
And that is something that within the game. So you have like they have them in I want to say this Aliens, the little tracker thing where it's like beep beep, and you see like when it's coming. So you have those. You use that in the game to know where if it's getting close to you on the ship, and if it starts getting close to you, like sometimes you'll just be like walking down a corridor, and all of a sudden, like in front of you, a vent lid will fall off, and you're like, because
that would make me jump. Like they did that in Resident Evil with the spiders.
Yep. So then you run into like a room when you notice that it's coming, because it might have heard you, because you also have to try to not make noise. So you hide in a lockers. Like that's one of the biggest hiding places in the game. And then your view, like from your point of view, like you can't move.
Is it just
in
like
the
the slit?
Yeah, you just see it through the slit, and it's so scary. And they do it in the trailer for the movie, and I'm like, he was quite so clearly inspired by this game. But yeah, the number of times he talks about how huge of an inspiration that game was, I'm just like,
I'm going to have to play this
game. The game is so good, then the movie's going to be so good.
I mean, look, you don't play games often nowadays, but to hear you rave about a game, that like, okay, all right. And he already said this on PS Plus. All right.
It is.
I'm going to have to play it.
Okay. A quick one. Obviously, we've said our excitement for Romulus and all that jazz. Because you two are obviously the connoisseurs of the alienness. Is there any? I have one for you. Is there any of the cancelled, rumored scripts, rumored like sequels, prequels? Is there anything that was in the past or possible future that you've thought, God damn it, I wish that was done?
I've never really read into those because they didn't happen.
I was super pumped for the
Neil Blomkamp's.
Yep, that I was the concept art, bringing back Hicks and Ripley. I was so excited for that, but I will say
it never took off.
No, Ridley Scott got it.
Promising.
Ridley Scott got it. Ridley Scott got it shelved because he decided. So he gave him his blessing to do it. So that's when obviously he wrote the script and everything. Got all of the needles moving. Got Sigourney on board. It went through the script with her a few times.
Hearing that Sigourney
and then Ridley had read it. Ridley read it and decided actually he wanted to get back into the world. So he went to the studio and pitched them Prometheus. So which meant then ended the agreement with Neil Blomkamp.
When's the show? Who's doing the show? I forgot who's doing the show.
Noah Hawley. The one that did Legion, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am excited for that as well, I should say.
I really enjoyed Monarch and the idea that it's like in a similar vein. And I don't hate the fact that it might be set on Earth. Well, it is set on Earth. Like, I mean, I don't hate that idea.
TV shows. I love Legion.
His work with TV shows is fantastic. So I feel like he is the type of person where you would trust that it's not going to be a predictable or okay. Don't cry. I'm right here.
His sex slave.
I was just gonna say, it just has a person tied up on the floor.
He does.
Yeah. No, it's my cat, Kyle. He's someone you can trust that isn't going to make it possibly predictable. He is going to give you out of left field all the way.
I'm excited.
So I'm excited for it.
If I remember correctly, they did recently say, like, while there is not connections between Romulus and the TV series, that they don't, like, contradict each other.
I love that.
Like, I'm like, yes, please
well,
don't
there we go.
do more of that shit.
Yeah.
I
no.
would love to see an
Um,
alien universe like have a resurgence, like in terms
That-
of,
I mean, the way it's
But-
going, it's gonna get a resurgence.
but in like you said, like from the film to the past series to the new upcoming TV show, it's nice if it would be consistent.
Well,
I mean, I read a comment on Reddit last night that made me laugh because it was like, Alien Romulus, Prey, are we fucking back, you guys? Are we back?
Wait,
I was
Prey
like, yes,
was
because
so good.
Prey
though.
was so good too.
Prey.
Prey was
And we get
amazing.
Midthunder. I don't even know. They might have already started filming it, but whatever the next
The
one is, if they
sequel.
announce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
But I
the
think
guy
that
who played the
shows
Predator?
that shows
Prey?
though. No thirst. Have some water.
Have you not seen this? All right, hold on.
Obviously,
Continue, sorry.
no. Right. So can we say? Obviously, everyone's just, are we back? Are we back? If you think about it, right, Disney didn't really want to do these things, but someone came along who could do it cheap, and they were like, you know what? It's cheap. Let them do it. It'll bring back some of the franchises that were paid all this money for. What's the worst that can do? So far, everything's looking good, but with Prey, we have like the guarantee of it went wild. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, how is this good?" If you give people expectations like this is your budget, and you let someone do something that they respect, they can knock it out of the park.
I feel like Prey and Romulus are both prime examples of them starting to figure out, like, looking at an IP and the narrative and going, what is the best direction to take this based upon what people like? Like, I feel like as much as I like the original Alien series, it sort of is sort of the Sidney Prescott of it all, where it's like, okay, how much are we going to continue following this one character when you have created this rich universe that we could explore other things in? We just want xenomorphs. Just make it scary, a good story, have good set design, and have xenomorphs. And I think Romulus represents that. And when you look at the Predator franchise, it's like, what can we do with this? Okay, well, we know that Predators have been doing this all throughout our history. So that's where you keep the things that work, which is the Predator hunting.
Yep.
But you're not switching up the formula enough where it's like, we have mutated predators. I mean, we sort of did in that one movie with Adrian Brody, where there was like different tiers of level, predators. But
yeah. And I didn't like the one with what's his name.
So you had
The Shane Black one.
Predators 2, Predators, which is the Adrian
Sterling
Brody
K.
one.
Brown.
The Predator,
That was a bad one.
which we don't speak of it.
Yeah.
And then Alien versus Predator 1 and 2.
Yeah. Prey was. Oh, and the dog. The dog was so good.
I love that main girl. She was a badass.
Amber Midthunder. I hope to see her in more
Yes.
stuff. She was
Oh,
incredible.
she was amazing.
I believe she's got something. She got something off of Prey,
Look at disease. Oh,
like a disease.
That makes me.
Don't get
That
Lyme
makes me
disease.
happy.
let's close out. What is your favorite? What are your top 2 favorite xenomorph designs from which movie?
I just like them.
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
I don't have
I
like
didn't know if you were. Oh. Okay.
specifics. I'm not like used to where I'm like, well, I like
No,
this design because of this.
You started
because
talking. You started talking.
because in
and you-
1975, this one creator put a single etching just here on the original, and they were like, it's perfect for the next one.
Okay. No.
I'll answer.
Yes, she's been cast in something called Novocaine, alongside Jack Quaid, Jacob Batlin, Matt Walsh, Betty Gabriel, Ray Nicholson.
All right.
People.
Wow.
Wow.
I liked obviously the original, but that's basic. But I really also enjoyed the alien design in Alien 3 because, as you pointed out earlier, Nick, I loved how like feral and violent and angry this one seemed. And so when you saw the design, but you also saw it people up. Oh my god.
My favorite's the one in Alien Resurrection that looks like the offspring of 2 inbred Texans.
Oh, the
Inbred
newborn.
Texans.
Love the newborn. Love the newborn. Mine is between 1 and 3. I like everything from the waist up in 1.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like that he's like standing like bipedal like a human. And then I think my biggest thing is I like it when it's attempting to not look disgusting and gross and wet. I like when it's biomechanical looking.
Mm-hmm.
The more true that it is to Geiger's original design, I like that. But I will say that I feel like Alien versus Predator, the aliens in that film are sort of like the most known pop culture wise.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what people think of. Like, I know that I've discussed this plenty of times with you guys, how much it annoys me when reactors will react to a movie. Like they do this all the time with with the Scream franchise, where they'll watch the first one, second one, whatever. But in the thumbnail, they use the image right after he kills what's-her-face in the beginning of Scream 4 in the stab movie, when he pulls the knife out of her chest. And I'm like, it's not from that movie. Everybody watches Alien, and they use the promo image from Alien versus Predator. I'm like, stop it! It's not the same. I digress. I get very, very heated about this shit. Anywho.
Can I ask then, of all the films, what moment scared you the most?
End of Alien. When it's just like there.
Oh,
Oh, when it like
okay.
reaches for her.
Okay.
I think the first thing that pops into my mind is in the first one when Dallas is crawling through the vents.
Damn it, I knew you were gonna take mine!
Yeah, and it turns and it's just right there.
That whole sequence is so effing tense. Like, I was holding my entire breath, I felt like, when I saw that.
His butt
Love that.
started like this, and then it went.
Yep. That's actually what the little things that they're crawling through do. Like the little vents, like it's like circle. It looks like a little butthole.
The fact that, like, there's no light, he's using sonar in a sense, and he's, like, just using a flash of the... Oh, my God. Such a great scene.
Also, shout out to Aliens, the face hugger scene with her and Newt.
Oh, yeah,
that's
that
very
got me.
neat.
That
Because
did...
like, there's
That got
certain
me, I forgot
lines
about-
of dialogue within movies that really stand out, obviously, as we all know this
Mhm.
basic concept. But to me, what really, I don't know, that sticks out to me in that scene is when she wakes Newt up and she's like, Newt, we're in trouble. Like, she is not pussyfooting around. She's like, we're about to die.
Yes!
Yeah, that's Liam, what about yours?
I said mine.
Just kidding. I knew that.
Do you have another one?
I mean, it truly,
That you would like
that
to-
is the one that, like, I remember the most, giving the biggest, like, jumps, or just in general, that whole sequence. But if it's the other thing, god damn it, Nick, forgetting the next one. It is when they're trapped, and that xenomorph just, like, is, or not xenomorph, sorry, that face hugger is just going to town kind of thing, trying to, oh my god. Because already, you know, I hate spiders, and that the design and the way it crawls and jumps. Oh my god, that scene gets me.
2 special shout outs before we end of crazy things.
Pug is not really editing this. Do you
Been-
see how long this is going to be? A
been
2
an
episode.
hour.
It's almost
I
been 2
know.
hours.
An hour and 45 minutes.
But
The
it, I love
opening
this
credits
theme.
of Alien
I'm so
Resurrection,
tired.
Oh, shut up.
when you see the xenomorph teeth and then the camera pulls out and you realize you're just looking at a beetle. Fucking hilarious.
Oh,
And then in Alien Covenant, when you watch the chestburster come out for the first time, and for whatever reason, I mean, it also has this in part 2, so I guess I can't talk too much shit, but it has arms, and David is playing the flute, and it starts like dancing along with the music.
I couldn't believe they did that.
Yeah.
I was like, you've got to be kidding. Again,
I was like,
I
it's
laughed
dancing.
at the movie.
Okay. Yay! Here's $1.
Okay, that's the end of that.
That's what
episode. Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining and subscribing and doing all that shit.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us this week. Yes, if you do want more from us, please do subscribe, like the video. You can follow Yutaka on his own channel, which is linked down below. You can follow Nick on his own channel, which is linked down below, because you will never see him here again because he is dead to us. I've been Liam. I don't have a channel because I'm lazy. Good night.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.